3 weeks from now, I will be harvesting my crops, and I have been waiting for this moment, for my entire life. I'd like to invite you to celebrate this moment, and I'd like you to stay with me. Hold the line. Do not carry much about the other things, and just in case, if you find yourself alone running in green fields with the sun in your face, do not be troubled, because you are in Elysium. Valhalla, we are coming. All we do in life, if you focus on this point, will echo in eternity. So that's why I have decided to represent a certain idea and respect some philosophers and scientists, psychologists, especially from Germany and England. So this is a very special moment, and for those about to psychoanalysis, I salute you, and I'd like you to participate, and I have to learn how to make your mark, as I have, so that's the main point. So, cheers, cheer up, let's restart the whole thing, since from the beginning. And we have to learn how to get rid of the bad. We have to learn how to be rid of some mediocre people who try to tie us to the ground in a life consumed by slow decay. So it's time. It's time to evolve, to develop, and you have to try to be better. And to be reborn, so that's the moment, and this is my moment, and I like to share this special moment. It is a new point of view. I wonder, from this point we have a wonderful view. We can appreciate the landscape much better. We can perceive and notice some little details that we used to ignore in the past, so this is the moment, and I'd really like to share and invite all of you to participate. So just one thing, talking about the proof, when you say psychology, many mediocre people, ignorant people, tend to think that it is totally abstract, that we cannot prove, that we cannot value the way we should be. So that's the most important point, as a psychologist, in this country, Brazil. But anyway, I hope I have to have the opportunity to get in touch with different people in Europe, especially in Germany and England, and I needed to get to know, I need to assure myself that here it is totally is not overrated. We have to strive and put so much effort to value and give it and give the right price. Although I consider psychology priceless, because I had so many special moments, browsing and skimming through some pages, and it was unforgettable moments. I had so many special moments, browsing the books, restricted, dangerous books, not poisoned, it should be poisoned, and get some people by surprise, but it is just, it is nothing but a fantasy. But anyway, I consider myself, Mr. Seeker. Since I was 15, since the first moment, I met and I heard Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and I don't know why, but I think maybe I have the third eye. I think I have this gift, but very soon I realized that there was something wrong, and that I had not moving backwards, but I had to step forwards, and I realized that there was something else beside air, in this space, in this spot. So I had to be humble, and I had to be. I had to be, I was precautious, of course, 15 years. I was just 15 years when I realized it, the whole thing. But I was paying attention carefully, not to miss any detail. So unfortunately, or fortunately, people around me couldn't perceive that it was totally wrong, the whole thing, people and everything else. But anyway, when I was studying psychology, one thing that used to bother me, annoy me, was a kind of pet peeve, a lot, was the fact that it wasn't possible to prove. Everything was so abstract, and metaphysical, and it was impossible to communicate those ideas with the others. And one thing that when I was reading a book written by Jean-Jacques Lacan, one thing that drew my attention, I couldn't deviate my attention at all, was when he used an experiment achieved by the Russian physician Pavlov in the beginning of the last century. It was very interesting, a moment, because Jean-Jacques Lacan said that it was the proof that we have searched for a long time. Everybody knows it is a famous experiment, and a very interesting experiment. The ringing of the bell, making the dog salivation was the ringing of the bell was a kind of stimulus that happened before the appearance of the meeting dove. So even considering a dog, it was a very stunning, astounding experience. When you see the dog drooling without the meat, so the dog was not smelling the meat. So it was something that is very important to quote, to mention. But things got even more important when you transfer this experiment to human beings. And I was observing some paintings. Salvador Dali painted a very interesting image where you can see the title is my mother, my mother, my mother, and you can repeat the sentence over and over again endlessly, and you can see not the organism but the representation. You can see the body totally warped, distorted, and deformed by some words. You can see a lot of holes on the body, and written in each hole you can see my mother, my mother, my mother, my mother. So I drew my attention, and it was fascinating to observe that there is no, you can have no to distinguish and defer the difference. You have to notice the difference between body and organism. So physicians, all of them, tend to use the microscope and then observe the evolution and observe the cells. But there is no something else, no besides, no cells in the body. And the German scientists, they were intelligent enough to notice that the soul is one element, one thing that one element, one very important element that you have to put and add to the body or to the organism, if you like. And so the point is, anyway, if you want to let's now get down to the brass tack, straight to the point. The words, the words have the capacity. The words can change the function. The words can affect firstly the body, and as a consequence, the organism. So that's the question that I have to focus on and pay attention. Now, if the ringing of the bell has the capacity to make the dog drool and salivate and cause salivation, physiological reaction, let alone some words project on the person. So that's the point. So that's the limit. That's the dead end. We cannot go further from this point because we have just reached the point in the end. And so there is no doubt, there can be no denying that it was the limit. So if you try to apply, and in my opinion, those thoughts is to apply, to any of these generations, we can come to the conclusion that we have the key to understand, and we have a proof which is very important, because we have to deal with people. We have to deal with mediocre professionals, so many people who are not capable of understanding, and so I have working this for such a long time, since I was 15 years, and I am reaching the age of 50 years. So sometimes it makes me laugh, because it is a joke. But anyway, we are in Brazil, and Brazil is a country I'd rather not to say anything about. I prefer not to say, to mention and describe this country. But anyway, many psychologists at college, I remember I was expecting the teachers to approach this theme and teach us, but it was a fantasy. So I had to do that by myself. I myself strived and so much effort, and I read, and I have read so many books to clear my mind, and to see the whole thing from above, 6,000 feet above all the others. So anyway, I'd like to share this experience, my thoughts, and what I have learned for so many years. And so that's my purpose, and I'd like to invite you to participate, and I'd like you to get in touch with me, and so that we can express ourselves in a manner which our forefathers centuries ago were very used to. But I cannot forget to mention some influences, and some artists, were very important. I was biased by some of them. It was a great pleasure, and I have learned a lot from them. So anyway, in a few words, we have the experiment achieved by the Russian physician with the dog, the dog salivating, associating the whole thing, with the ring of the bell, and at last the ring of the bell, affecting the body, not the body but the organism. And if you transfer this experiment to us, we can see that the words might affect the function. And one thing, one thing that I cannot forget to mention is that we cannot forget that the person doesn't know anything about that. It remains completely obscured by the words. So that's it. And let's eat pamonha. Pamonha, it's delicious. I'd like you to eat pamonha, because pamonha can be delighted. It's you have to taste it. It's fabulous, and you cannot appreciate these here if you come to Brazil. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you again very soon. I'm going to buy a pamonha now. Thank you very much.